Cassie, thank you so much for joining us at the 2025 Bentonville Film Festival. We're
Thank you for having me.
excited to have you here.
Yeah.
For the viewing audience at home, please tell them the name of your film and what you'd like them to know about the piece.
Well, the film is called Abigail Before Beatrice. It's a slow burn psychological thriller about a woman who used to be in a cult, and the less you know about it, the better. It's fun to keep things secret.
It is.
But not too many things because, we're interviewing about it, so.
We're going to be besties by the end of this. How did you get into the psychological thriller slow burn genre?
I've always loved, for me, there's no such thing as a slow movie if the story is being told interestingly. And I've definitely watched a 75-minute movie that felt like it was 4 hours. It's not really about the length. It's about the story that's being told and the characters that are being introduced. And I just always like to challenge myself with how I write. I never write one script the same way, or usually even one specific kind of script. And I wanted to slowly introduce the elements of this story to keep people a little bit off balance and questioning and wondering, and then you think you know the answer and then you're absolutely incorrect. And I'm playing a lot with time in it, and how we tell the story. And honestly, for me, it was like a personal challenge to see if I could tell the story and get to the heart of it while not telling it traditionally.
You did.
Thank you.
My opinion is you did.
Thank you so much.
And with this, of course, you've chosen to have some very strong females in this, at their core, they're strong, but they don't always know they're strong. So how did you pull that out of your cast?
Well, a few different things. As a writer and a director, I've always been interested. My personal mandate has always been telling the complicated stories of complicated women, and I don't really believe in having a likable lead necessarily. I want to do justice to the story that I'm writing, so it's not necessarily and this is a character that you root for all the time. Because I don't root for myself all the time. I don't root for my complicated female friends all the time. But I'm always present with them, and I'm rooting for them in a way, but I'm all, it's the joke about I support women's rights and women's wrongs, and I love telling those kinds of stories. But my cast, I am so incredibly lucky that Molly, who plays the young Georgina, and Riley Dandy, who's Abigail / Sarah, and Olivia, who's the lead Beatrice / Maddie, they're my friends. And we were incredibly lucky to be in an acting class together. Actually, all of the lead actors we met at the acting studio, and the women in the cult as well. And they watched me working on the project. I was doing scenes from it in acting class to workshop them, which is great. It's free workshopping for your projects. If you're hey, does this work? And then your absurdly talented friends who happen to be professional actors are confirming oh yes, it does work, thank God. But yeah, how I drew those performances out of them was I direct a lot through my writing. I'm a writer first and a director second. So when I'm writing things, I'm writing what the character is feeling and sometimes what they're thinking specifically. So if you were reading the script, it's telling you a lot of what you need. And it's getting you into that psychologically. And then my actors, I'm very open to their interpretations. I want to talk with them if they have questions, or if they're I just don't think I would say it this way. I'm great, let's talk about it. How do you want to say it? Or if the scene isn't working, then what makes you feel what's not working? And there's always the feeling underneath that they're well, I want to express more like strength in this moment, but I have to lose the argument. I'm like, okay, how do we find a breaking point because you've expressed strength? And like so it's not about winning the argument, it's about getting your point across and then losing the argument because the person that you're opposite of doesn't take in your point or cuts you off at the knees. So you can express strength and vulnerability. Like that, it was always conversations or just me being like, I trust you, go, let go. Just Olivia in particular was so much, she came in fully formed as Beatrice, and she's a powerhouse, honestly. It was very little direction for her. Sometimes it was just, this is your frame, this is where you are, and sometimes it was like a little bit slower, sometimes a little bit faster, or, more like an evangelical. That was sometimes the note of like, all right, you need to evangelize more, and then the little crazy spark in her eye would come, and you're like, there it is, that's the story.
Yes, and with Olivia's performance, she's one of those actresses that if you've seen what she's been in before, you'll see the face, you'll hear the voice, and you're like, I know I've seen her. And before you get the whole somewhere before, you get pulled out of whatever you remember her from, and you are immersed into what she's working on at that moment.
Yeah.
And not everyone that acts can do that.
It's so strange because even just hanging out with Olivia, she's so cool and chill, and she's always wearing like a baseball cap and a t-shirt that she's had for like 15 years and just has holes, and she's always on like the ranch with her horse, and just a very down-to-earth kind of person. And I forget that she was Beatrice in a strange, and then being on set and her being Beatrice, I'm like, oh, that's not Olivia, because she is so the opposite, and she can turn it on in 1 second, and her voice is different, and how she holds her body is different, her face looks different. It's weird. Even just seeing photos, because she was just in Touch Me that premiered at Sundance, and I hadn't seen her for a little while, and I saw photos of her, like press photos. I was like, well, that's not Beatrice, because it was just the opposite person. And I'm so lucky, so genuinely lucky that we were able to work with such incredibly talented people who I also just get to hang out with on like weekends as well. Work with your friends. It's as long as they're wildly talented.
And you have open communication with them.
Yes, extremely open communication. Lots of conversations, but also making sure that we had someone else for them to go to, for if they were like, I'm not sure about this, and they needed to run it by somebody else. Like, it's important to have like different avenues of conversation on set, just so nobody ever feels like they can't share something with someone. Like that's kind of the importance of an intimacy coordinator, or because we didn't have like nudity in our film, and in the script we didn't have sex in the film. We now have a sex scene in the film because the actors choreographed it with our associate producer Jordan, who also plays the character Will, but he stepped in as an intimacy coordinator because he was also our acting coach. So he was like my roommate and my coworker, and now my associate producer and my actor, and our lives are very entwined. But we had a closed set for that, and we put them in a room just like you guys talk about it, and then they sat me down and they were like, listen, it's a little different from the script. This is a story we want to express. And then they showed it to me, and I was like, my mom's gonna see that. I was immediately like, this is way sexier than I was expecting. But also like deeply troubling, it's like, to me, it's the most disturbing scene in the film, honestly, because it's such a betrayal of like when intimacy is used as a weapon and like a means of control, and it like, yeah, people watch it and they're like, that was hot, and I feel horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. You couldn't have written it, but you're very appreciative that they got that out of the characters.
Yes, yeah, and they were like, this is the story. Like, originally, the sort of basic emotional communication was the same, that he prefers one over the other and ices the other one out. And it was much shorter. And then they were like, nope, we're going for it. And I'm glad that they did. But yeah, my mom is watching it on Thursday.
Mom, she didn't write it.
Yeah.
She just let her friends do what her friends wanted to do.
Yes, and my friends wanted to have crazy sex.
But she made sure they were safe and appropriate while doing it.
Oh my God. We had, because of the close set, you know, I'm like in a dark room with only people who are necessary. And I was kind of worried about the rest of the cast. Like, oh my gosh, it's so hot, and this is going to take a few hours to shoot everything. And they were in our Sprinter van watching Happy Gilmore, having like the time of their life, where I'm like just on the verge of tears watching something like so disturbing and being like, oh no. And they're literally like hooting and hollering in the backyard of the farm. So
with an alligator.
Yes. Oh, Carl Weathers.
Yes.
R.I.P.
I know.
Hey, Jared. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say hi to you during them. Just ignore me. That was Jared.
We're going to talk to him, and it was you. So, how did you decide on Arkansas as a location?
Well, I was born and raised in Little Rock. I lived in Arkansas until I was 15. And when I was originally writing it, I didn't specifically have the state of Arkansas in my mind. I was just writing almost an imaginary place in my head, with like open fields and a rural setting. I was still living in Los Angeles when I first started writing the script. And then because of the strikes and other personal obstacles, I, was flat ass broke and had to leave California. And I was moving back home for the first time since I was 15 to like live there. And I was feeling some kind of way about it, after being in California for 13 years, being like, I feel like I'm so close to like doing what I want to do and having to leave. And then I won a Panavision Grant for my first feature from the Arkansas Cinema Society. And I had written this script that I wanted to film, but didn't think it would be possible. It was kind of a pipe dream. And then I won and was like, I'm moving back to Arkansas, and I have a $60,000 Panavision camera rental grant, and I'm filming in Arkansas because I wouldn't have this grant without that. And my whole family is there. I'll be supported. And I got to go out into the community and meet so many incredible people, and the crew is outstanding. We worked with FGR, and they're in Northwest Arkansas and in Little Rock, and meeting new members of the community. We were out in the country. Like Keogh, the city, has a population of 207 people, and I've met quite a few of them. Yeah. And I go to Charlotte's Eats and Sweets, which is the coffee shop where we filmed Best Pie in Arkansas. It's famous for it, actually. It's it's a nominee for the Food Hall of Fame in Arkansas. But the nicest people and amazing locations. Yeah, I'm so glad that I got to film here.
Excellent. And following up with all of this, of course, you entered into the Bentonville Film Festival. Mm-hmm. How did you learn about the festival?
I was lucky enough that Drea reached out to me. Drea, who's one of the lead programmers, she, I guess, had heard that we had filmed in Arkansas, or no, I think what it was is that we had submitted to Sundance like a rough cut, which, you know, it was a gamble, but we were like, screw it. we locked, the day that we locked our first cut, we submitted to Sundance because we were on a deadline. And I think she had heard about it from another screener that it was set in Arkansas. And she reached out to me and was like, I don't know, if you're interested in sending this. And I hadn't heard of the Bentonville Film Festival at that time because I had just, been back in Arkansas for a minute. And I submitted and then did my research and was like, oh my gosh, Gina Davis and how it's inclusivity forward, and really felt so excited that, growing up in Arkansas, especially as a queer young woman who didn't really come into herself until my late 20s, my 30s, of being open about that. To think that there would be a place in this state that I grew up in that was open to that kind of inclusivity and equity and all of it. And I was so excited just to be considered. And then to find out that they had started this whole new program highlighting Arkansas filmmakers was like cherry on top of it, because it's very important to me that we do bring more focus to the film industry here. We have so many talented crew members and filmmakers, and they deserve more of a chance for work. And that also means raising the cap for filmmakers. So legislators, if you're watching, you should definitely be raising that, because there's a for every $1 spent on a film being made in Arkansas makes $4 back in the community. And there's a whole study that was done about it. So having a stronger film party in Arkansas means a stronger economy for the entire state. So there's no excuse.
She's talking to you. She's talking to you.
Talking to you.
Well, I thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
How can people follow the progress of the film, follow you, support your projects? How do they connect?
You can find our project is Abigail Before Beatrice, or at Abigail Before Beatrice on Instagram. We also have AbigailBeforeBeatrice.com. CassieKeet.com is my website that I don't update enough, but it's there. You can find me on IMDb, and Instagram is at KissMyCassieK. I've thought about changing it, but at this point, whatever. I'll keep it that way. Those are the big ones. And you can always find me, on a street corner smoking a cigarette with a Diet Coke anywhere in Little Rock if you want to keep an eye out.